is Don at Airbrush Technique Magazine, AirBrushTechniqueMagazine.com. Here we have an Iwata Eclipse airbrush. I'm going to show you how to take it apart so you can clean it and then put it back together correctly so it works. First thing we'll do is remove the back handle. You want to put all this stuff in a bowl or a plate somewhere so you don't lose the parts. Chucking nut unscrews. Remove the needle. Remove the guide housing. Just unscrews. It'll come out all as one with a spring and the guide. Pull the trigger straight out. Next we'll remove the tip guard, the air cap, the head with a wrench provided from Iwata. And that will expose the fluid tip. When you put it back together, after you've cleaned it thoroughly, it's just the opposite. Put the tip in the head. Make sure the little gasket's here on the airbrush. Make sure that's in place. Thread it on carefully so you don't cross thread it. Air cap screws on, again carefully so you don't cross thread it. Finger tight is fine. The tip guard. Next we'll put the trigger in. The trigger's a little tricky to get in there because it sort of flops around where it goes in the air valve body. There's a slot in the trigger that has to run the length of the airbrush. Once the trigger is installed properly, when you press down on it, it should spring back up. It goes down into the top of the air valve. We'll install the needle guide next. There's a little knob on top of the needle guide. That goes in back of the airbrush. You put it in at an angle and bring it up behind the trigger right here. You're good. Put your spring on. The housing. Screw it in carefully so you don't cross thread it. Put a little super lube on your needle. You install your needle carefully. Slide it in till you feel it seat in the tip. Don't force it in. Don't push it in real hard. Just so that it seats in the tip. Install the chucking nut. Back handle. Make sure the gasket's on that little back handle. There's a little gasket on it. Push up and down the trigger, it should spring back up. Pull back and forth on the trigger, and you should see the needle moving. I hope you found this helpful. That's the Iwata Eclipse BCS. This is Don at Airbrush Technique Magazine, AirBrushTechniqueMagazine.com. If you need further assistance with airbrush related questions or problems, you can register on our airbrush support form at AirBrushTechnique.com. That's AirBrushTechnique.com. For free airbrush lessons, you can go to HowToAirBrush.com. HowToAirBrush.com. This is Don from Airbrush Technique. Hope you found this helpful. Thank you.